So let's talk about the social science passages. These are passages about the economy, psychology, which is the study of human mind and human behaviors, sociology, which is the study of human society, or even a historic document, like something written by the Founding Fathers. And partly because of the wide variety of content possible, the social science passage can be one of the trickiest passages to read. Often the passage is dense with lots of vocabulary words that you may or may not be familiar with, along with long, rambling sentences. These passages are informative, but with a bias. And bias means that the author is trying to convince you of a perspective, point of view, or an argument. And this is why you need to treat these passages like a combination of a narrative and informative, a cross between how you read the prose and the natural science. Okay, so what does this mean you actually do? How should your voice sound in your head? Well, your job is to read, skim, and reword. The idea is that you are hearing your voice as you read until you hit a dense or rambling part or sentence. Then you mumble or skim through it. And once you've reached the end of that part or sentence, you take a second, literally about 1 second, and say in your head, in your brain voice, as simply as possible, what exactly that part or sentence meant. And as you're reading, you are paying attention to the structure of the passage, main idea of the paragraphs, and noting elements that support the argument, as well as any counterexamples. But since this passage is not just informative, you must determine if there is an argument or bias. And this is why transition words are key in this passage. Is that what the author thinks? Or is it mentioned as more of a counter-argument? Is the author sharing his perspective or that of someone else? You must identify what the author thinks as well as what the author disagrees with. So it may not be that hard to understand the main idea, purpose, bias of the passage if you can follow what the author is saying. But if the passage is dense and you don't stop along the way to reword what you have read, then you could reach the end of the passage and have no idea what the author is talking about. You have to balance hearing your voice read the words, skimming over the denser, confusing detail parts, then hearing your voice reword what the author said in a simpler way. Yes, content is important, but these passages will ask more inference questions than detail questions, and while you can return to the passage for details, it is hard to return to a particular place in the passage to understand tone. Tone builds throughout the passage, and thus would require you to reread the entire thing again if you missed it the first time. Okay, let's recap. When you're reading a social science passage, you skim the passage by hearing with your brain voice only the important words and constantly checking for understanding by rephrasing the passage in your own words. You're going to focus on the main idea and passage structure while also looking for why the author wrote this. Is there a bias? Is it informative or persuasive?